Remember that BOI filing that all business owners in the United States were required to submit? Well, it looks like for most U.S. businesses and business owners, it's going to be gone. The Trump administration announced last week that if you are a U.S. company or a U.S. person who operates a business in the United States, you will soon no longer have to comply with the Corporate Transparency Act, and you will soon no longer be required to file the beneficial ownership information, or BOI, to the Treasury Department. And yes, I am going to give you some information in this video about perhaps deleting your information if you already filed in just a second. But first, you need to know this. You might be wondering, how can the Trump administration just remove this requirement that's outlined in a law passed by Congress? Well, because last week, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, which is responsible for collecting this BOI data, proposed another new rule that narrows the scope of which types of businesses are required to file BOI information. The new rule now says domestic reporting companies and their beneficial owners are now exempt from the requirement to file an initial BOI or even an updated BOI. The new rule says only foreign reporting companies are going to be required to file beneficial ownership information. So what qualifies as a foreign reporting company? Well, according to this new proposed rule, it would be an entity formed under the law of a foreign country that is registered to do business in the United States. If that is you, then you will still have to file a BOI 30 days after this new rule becomes final. But why are they doing this? Well, FinCEN says because of President Trump's policy of deregulation. The Financial Crimes Enforcement Network says the President and the Treasury Secretary have reassessed the balance between the usefulness of collecting BOI and the regulatory burdens imposed by FinCEN's BOI reporting requirements. The Secretary has assessed that exempting U.S. businesses would ensure that these regulations are appropriately tailored to advance the public interest, considering the burdens imposed by the regulations without sufficient benefits. Now, I know you're going to ask, what should you do if you already filed your BOI? Well, before I tell you that, you need to understand that this rule is not final yet. Things could still change because there is a 60-day comment period that is underway right now. That period is scheduled to wrap up at the end of May. So I would suggest if you are wanting to remove your BOI information that you already filed, you may want to wait until this new rule is set in stone. But if and when it does become final, you can just leave your information and forget about it. Or if you are hell-bent on removing your information, according to the BOI Frequently Asked Questions section, you can go into the BOI reporting portal, file an updated report, and you will indicate that your business is no longer a reporting company because you are now exempt. That would require you to do two things: identify your entity or business, and then check a box noting that your company or entity is newly exempt. So if you want to read more about all these changes, you want to read the information, you want to read the new proposed rule, I'm going to email everything out to you tonight in my Facts HQ email, and I will remind you again that we do not know what's going to happen with TikTok in literally just 5 days. So I highly suggest that you sign up for that email right now. Not only is it free, but it is a great resource, and it's also the best way for you to stay connected to me.